Hi everyone, a very good morning. I'm out today with my CBR 250R after a long time. Yeah, the bike was sitting out uh, lonely in the garage due to the brake issue. I was having some brake issue with this bike. The front brake lever feel was not right, and that's something which I cannot live with. So I had to source the parts since it's a modified bike, so I had to wait for the parts to arrive, and it did arrive yesterday. So today I would be changing the front brake lever master cylinder kit. This is a CBR 250R 2019 model BS4. It has done around 19,000 kilometers. It's a very good bike. Yeah, it has got a couple of modifications in it. I would make a separate video giving you all a walk around. At the same time, I would list the modifications, the customizations which I have done to it. It has got a custom paint as well, with custom light setup, aux lights, and a couple of technical mods as well to make it more friendlier to use, more likable. That said, yes, today I will be changing the master cylinder kit, the front brake master cylinder kit of this bike, so that the brake feel improves. This is something which is very crucial for braking, and it requires a replacement every 10 to 15,000 kilometers. Once you start feeling that squishiness in your lever, which deteriorates the braking performance. There's no issue with the braking as such, but the feel decreases. The torquing the brake does to your fingers, that decreases to a lot of extent. So in order to restore that back, you need to service certain parts and replace the brake master cylinder kit. So I would be doing that. I would be doing it myself. Please do not try to do this by your own. I will be doing it since I'm very passionate about these things, and I'm into all these from a very young age. I have that experience. So I would advise everyone, please do not try this by your own. What you could do is, if you're facing that similar issue, this brake lever feel, it's spongy or it's squishy, you could show this video as a reference to your mechanic and tell them or him to do the same to your bike as well. It's very common for all the disc brake motorcycles, so it's an easy job, but at the same time, it's since it is brake related, it is a very risky affair. If not done properly, then it could end up very fatal. You could use my video as a reference and show it to your mechanic to have the job done. Don't do it yourself. That's what I would like to advise. See the video. I will be giving a bit of demonstration of what I did, how I did. So you'll get a clear idea of what goes wrong when your brake lever, starts behaving abnormally or somewhat differently, which hampers the braking performance, which decreases the braking performance. So you'll get the idea, but you need certain special tools and certain know-how, certain knowledge to perform this safely, securely, and that's why I would recommend, please go to your mechanic and tell them to do it for you if this problem persists in your bike. Yes, so I'm back with my setup. Hi guys, and I will be working on this one, and let me demonstrate the tools that we need for the task. This is the 11 by 10 mil ring wrench that I use for bleeding the brakes. The 11 mil is required for the bleeder nut, the bleeder valve nut. So I would be installing it and keeping it ready in place. This is just a small bleeding system that I had created by myself, so that the brake oil doesn't spill out in the floor. Yeah, apart from that, we need two 10 mils spanner. I'm using the ratchet type and another open head spanner. Both should be 10 mil. And then we need the Circlip opener. This is the special tool I was talking about. There's a Circlip before the master cylinder kit which has to be removed. So I would be using this tool to remove the Circlip. And then we need the nose plier, and then the kit itself. This is a Yamaha master cylinder kit. You must be wondering why I'm using a Yamaha part on a Honda bike. But yes, I went ahead and upgraded the brakes of my bike to the Yamaha R15 version 2 brake setup. Well, that's a much better brakes than the stock non-ABS CBR, so I had to upgrade it. So that's why the kit is from Yamaha. And I would be using Liquimoly brake fluid, dot 4 brake fluid. I've been using it for a long time and it does its job really well. So that's for the setup. Now let me release the brake pressure. Yep. So I just released the brake pressure. I just undid the bleeder valve nut and the brake fluid is coming out, releasing the pressure. Please keep some sort of rags under the master cylinder brake lever, since there would be spills when you will be opening the master cylinder kit. When you would be pulling it out, then the brake oil would spill all over. So I would advise keeping some sort of container or maybe a bowl or something underneath to collect all the brake fluids. I couldn't do so, but I would advise please keep some sort of container underneath. There's a 10 mil nut underneath the brake lever and a 10 mil on top of it. So now the lever would come out once the bolt is off. There, the lever, I took out the lever now. Now let's go ahead and try to pull out the boot. There is a rubber boot on top of the master cylinder kit on the external side. So first we need to remove the rubber uh, boot. So I would use the nose plier to do the same. Yeah, this is the rubber boot. We don't need that since we have a new one with the new kit. Now we need to, compress the circlip inside. I'll try to show you. A circlip is a round shaped, more sort of a spacer or a washer, you could say, which has open ends, and there are two holes on each endings. So you could, this circlip opener goes and sits uh, inside those two holes, and when you compress them, and then you could pull it out. It will be difficult to demonstrate, but still I would try my best. There you see, there are two holes over here, and these two needle kind of a thing, they go and sit in them, and then you press it, it compresses, and then it comes out. That's the trick over here, and that's the circlip which holds the master cylinder in place. There's a groove around it where the circlip sits. I think I need to remove the switch gear for a better demonstration. So let me check if I could. Yeah, I would definitely open the switch gear and have a better view. So yeah, I went ahead and removed undid the switch gear, so it's hanging around underneath. So now we could have a better view of, what's over here, what I'm working with. So the stick kind of thing which you see is the master cylinder kit, and the round shaped thing is the circlip which I'm trying to remove from here. However, it is a very difficult thing to do so, one-handed. I'm holding the camera in one hand and trying to remove it with the other hand with the circlip opener. So let's see. I hope you're able to understand what exactly I'm trying to do. This circlip over here, it helps the master cylinder kit to be seated in its place and not come out fully. So that's the story over here. That's the job of a circlip. It's a very common item in all automobile, situations like this. There are several kind of size of circlips which are found in various different places. So this is one of them. I think it will be difficult doing it single-handed, guys. So let me just, remove the circlip first and continue the video. So here we are, guys. I just removed the circlip, and I would show you how the circlip looks actually. So let me just take the circlip out and give you all a good view of it. This is the circlip that I was talking about, which was there. As you could see, there are two holes in the openings where the circlip opener needle goes in, and then you squeeze it and then you pull it out. That's how the circlip comes out from its position. Let me keep it aside. And now is a very good time to put a bowl underneath the brake oil master cylinder. As you could see, the brake oil just dripped out. So be very careful when you're working with brake oil, guys, since it is a very corrosive thing. Although dot 4 is not that corrosive as dot 3, but still brake oil is corrosive, so you should take special care when you're working with it. So the next thing that we do is, we clean the surface from where the master cylinder kit came out. We will give it a good clean just by a cloth. You don't need to do any kind of detailed cleaning over here. That's not required. You just need to clean it from the outside with a clean cloth. If you happen to spill any brake oil anywhere in your paint job, just make sure to clean it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it is going to leave its mark over there. So now I'll clean the place a bit before installing the new master cylinder kit. So now I would be unpacking the new master cylinder kit that I have with me and show you how it looks. Let me just tear open the seal. And here it is, guys. We have a new set of boot and a new circlip with a washer, and then the actual master cylinder along with its accessories. This spring that you see over here is responsible for the brake to come back to its position, for the left brake lever to come back to its position when you release the brakes. So now we need to remove the new boot from this setup, and then give it a quick grease. I would be using Vaseline. I won't be using any general grease, and I would advise you to do the same if you are doing it. Uh, do not apply general purpose grease over here. You may apply Vaseline petroleum jelly. That's what I would be using in this over here as well. You just need to take a bit of the Vaseline gel and put it in the spring and the surrounding places. There are two rubber o-rings, and you could call it rubber bush, which is there, so you need to grease them as well with the petroleum jelly and the spring and every other part over here which is going inside. So now I would be, putting the new master cylinder kit back in its position. And once it is there, we need to, press and check for the feel, whether it is, absolutely feeling, it should not have any hesitation going inside and coming out. That's what you should, that's what we are looking at over here. It's working absolutely fine. Some more brake oil just dripped. So as I said, guys, please do keep some kind of container underneath over here to collect the brake oil and avoid the mess over here. So what I would do is, guys, I would stop the video over here and install the Circlip, and then we will continue the video. I'm very sorry that I had to, use voiceover in this video since the GoPro stock mic didn't record well. So I would source another good mic in my future videos. So stay tuned, guys, for the ending of the video. So yeah, now guys, the Circlip is installed and it is working absolutely fine, as I could feel it with my finger. So now I would install the rest of the parts. The boot is the next thing that I would be putting in back. So before doing so, I need to apply a bit of Vaseline to it. So let's just put the boot back, and to secure it in its place we need a small flathead screwdriver. And just tuck it back. There is a groove inside, so if you just play around with the screwdriver a bit around it, so it gets seated over there. There, it is now properly seated. So now I would be installing the lever and the switch gear back in its position, but before that we need to open the master cylinder reservoir, because we need to add oil to it and we will start the bleeding process. Although I won't demonstrate the bleeding process much, since it's a repetitive task and it takes a long time to pump and then bring back the pressure. Maybe I would shoot another dedicated vlog for the bleeding purpose. uh, I won't be elongating this video very long, since the main purpose of this video was to show you the replacement process of the brake master cylinder kit. So let's just install the rest of the parts first and then start with the bleeding process. Clean the pivot areas properly, and we also need to grease it before we put in the lever. So I'm using a liquid grease again. Clean the lever and its the surrounding parts where the friction happens properly, and then apply some grease on both sides. Apply the grease on both sides. And just leave it there very carefully so it doesn't fall off. And then take the pivot pin, clean it properly, apply some grease in this one as well. and then insert the pivot in its place, and you need to screw it down completely. I would use the 10 mil ratchet to do the job. As you could see, there's no pressure now. I need to build up the pressure. And now let me just, screw in the uh, nut which goes underneath the brake lever. And I would again use the ratchet to tighten the nut which is underneath. And at the same time, we need to hold the nut on the top so that it doesn't spin back. So just like this, you need to uh, hold the nut on top with the 10 mil and then tighten the nut from the underneath. So that's done. The lever is in its position now, and the next thing that we do is we install the switch gear and the throttle cable and the grip, everything to its place. So now let's install the switch gear. There's a slot underneath the switch gear where the switch gear needs to be seated. So you need to make sure about that and then screw in. The screws are identical, guys. You cannot mix them. The rear one needs to be screwed in the rear, and the front one needs to screwed in the front. They are different in sizes, length. They are different in lengths. So make sure about that, and then just simply screw in the bolts. One done, and now I would be doing the other one. There, it's done now, guys. So the switch gear and the lever and everything is back in its place. And now what we just need to do is put in brake oil in the reservoir and start the bleeding process. It's always better to, keep cleaning the items in between your work. That, enhances your job quality. That's what I feel. So that's why I keep a clean cloth alongside. So, in between my work, I keep cleaning the place. So now let's open the seal of this Liquimoly.4 brake fluid. You just need to open it a bit. You don't need to tear open the full seal. So now I would be pouring in the brake fluid in the reservoir. And then we could start the bleeding process. I would definitely make another separate video demonstrating the bleeding process, but I would give you a brief idea of how it is done in this one. So what you need to do is, first you need to tighten the valve. Remember we had opened it in the beginning of the video, so I just tightened it, and then you need to press this lever several couple of times to build in that initial pressure, so that the oil which I just poured in comes in line to the inside the brake line, brake hose. So then the trick is, turn the valve open, press the lever, and then turn it tight back, and then release the pressure. Again, undo the bolt, press the lever, and release the brake. So this is the process of the brake bleeding. So I would make a separate video where you would understand it better. So there it is, guys. I just completed the bleeding process, and the brake is working fine now. As you could see, the pressure is there, and there is no squishiness, no sponginess, nothing is there. It's working absolutely fine, flawlessly. So that ends the process of how to change the brake master cylinder kit, which I just did to improve the braking performance. So yes, guys, the work has been done. The master cylinder kit has been replaced successfully. Yeah, it took a bit of a time. That's a time consuming job, to pump and bring the pressure of the lever back once you release it. So it took some time, and it took some effort, as well as a lot of brake fluid. That's okay. At the end, the work got done successfully. That's what matters. So yes, now there is no squishiness or sponginess, and there is no hesitation in the lever pull. So I'm very happy with the work. But yes, again, I would advise not to do this by yourself, because you need some special tools and some special know-how to do this, as I said earlier. So please keep that in mind, otherwise it will become very risky. Apart from that, yeah, I feel the brake is optimum now, and now I could ride this bike as and when required. So now I'm heading back home. I'll be home soon. I will be making a separate video regarding the modifications that I did to this bike, especially with regards to the technical upgradations which I did. The brake upgrade, as I said, and I also did something to the clutch, something to the throttle, which made this bike a bit more fun to ride, kind of a thing, without compromising on the durability. So yes, that's more of it in this vlog. I'll be making another video soon. Always ride responsibly, guys. Like, see, this guy in front of me is not wearing a helmet and riding so rough. Yes, you could do those quick overtakes and those fancy moves. That's okay, but you should be in your proper gear. At least a pair of gloves and a good helmet is very essential, and that's common sense nowadays. I'll end this vlog here. Do take care, everyone. Ride safe and have fun in life. Bye bye.